Welcome to the Brianna Show. You like my new intro? Psych! Welcome. What is up, you guys? It is Brianna / Be the Killer / Chef Burberry, aka Muscle Mommy, aka Blazing Bree, aka Hey! The one and only. How we doing today? How we feeling? Today the fit. Check out the fit check. We got this skirt, maxi skirt. We got this top that I thrifted. Skirt from H&M. Hold on. Y'all can't even see it. BAM! Hold on, let me get my earrings. It's literally my comfort. Did I literally forget to accessorize before I get on video? Of course. Of course. Not too much on the hairstyle because I had this headscarf on my head for an hour while I was in therapy. As soon as I come out, poof. Like, we get it. You're kinky 4C, 4B. But come on now. It's getting hot. How are you feeling? Not gonna lie, I'm sweating in places I don't like to admit. It's unfair. Even though I'm a summer baby, I prefer the fall and winter. Besides that, let's actually get into the video. Today I'm going to be talking about well, we're going to talk about some shadow work that I've been doing. And of course, we talked about rage last time, and I think this time I want to talk about depression. I'm gonna do my balls in some $1,000 dressing. So actually, let's be real for one moment. Depression is not something to be joking around about, but this is how I cope. As someone who was diagnosed with depression at like 18, not too much. This is how I cope. This is not something to actually make fun of, but I'm gonna let y'all know right now, depression is not a joke. Let's look up the definition of depression. We're actually in a new space, so let me know if y'all like the new vibes. That's my artwork in the back. I'm gonna sell like 3 paintings, Lord willing. They're gonna be put up, and hopefully someone buys them. Because I put my heart and soul into these paintings, and they should have a home besides mine. Depression is a common mental health condition characterized by persistent sadness, loss of interest, and significant drop in energy. I have some peppermint tea. Make sure you get your tea warmed up because what we're about to get into is some serious ish. So, basically, what I wrote is the spirit of depression is caused by my inability to make rational and logistical decisions. Logical. Wow. I wrote logical. Guys, I promise I can read. Logical decisions of my own. I've had trouble really pinpointing my main cause of indecision, but I know now that it's because of my childhood. I make excuses for how my mom treated me, but blame everyone else. Damn. Okay, nah, this is too deep. Basically, growing up, I felt like I've seen tendencies of depression within my own mother, and although I would like to admit that she was diagnosed, she wasn't diagnosed. It's only something I've seen and I can see with my own 2 eyes growing up. And even having like little brothers, like they get a different version of your mother, which is why I think I make it very clear that like being a mother means that like being a mother to myself right now means I need to show myself grace for where I felt like I wasn't met with that same grace as a kid. So it's like reparenting myself all over again, but also with a different set of eyes. And looking at my mom and looking at myself now, I realized that she's just a woman learning how to be a woman, and still she had an inner child within her too, which is why I can't fault her for so many of the things that she didn't even know how to do. She was a single parent of 3, my two little brothers have a different dad, which is kind of what made me feel like, I was the only child for a long time, and I felt like, man, I don't want to. I like having my own things. I like getting what I want, what I need. And at the end of the day, I felt like it was something. It's kind of, I would say it was a soft launch to my depression, being the oldest daughter. But I would also say it's a soft launch into being this hyper vigilant, in charge of everyone's emotions, feeling like I owe everybody something. And then I fell on the opposite end of the spectrum, growing up in my years, being a lot more selfish, but in a dangerous way, because I was like, I didn't even ask to be born. I didn't ask for these two little nigglets to come. But also, I love them to life. But again, I was in my early teen angst, I hate everybody phase. And I think, with all that being said, I think that comes with the anger and the shame and the guilt of feeling like the mourning of the loss of like a relationship that I had, like being the only child with the mother, who showed some depressive tendencies again. So again, it's feeling like I had to overcompensate for emotions that weren't even mine. It feels as if I had to overcome a lot of things to just to forgive, not forget, but to just forgive everything that's happened in my life. And it's going to take a lot more to forgive myself for the things that I allowed in my life. But that being said, let's get into some depression. That's like a crazy segue. But mood, persistent feelings of sadness, emptiness, worthlessness, or hopelessness. Interest, loss of joy in hobbies or activities you once loved. Physical, chronic fatigue, significant changes in appetite or weight, and unexplained aches. Cognitive, difficulty concentrating, remembering details, or making decisions. Sleep, insomnia, waking up too early, or sleeping too much. Before we even get into the types, I think when it comes to my mood, when it comes to depression, I just cut everybody off and fall off the face of the earth. When it comes to my interest, I just put that up too. Oh my gosh. You know, I think this is the perfect time to get into my art, because this is called Spiral. And speaking of interest, I do love to paint, and I was talking to my therapist about it today, that she was asking me, like, what does this mean? What did it mean when I was painting it? And after a paint and sip, I realized, like, I'm kind of drawn to animals and dragons and snakes and bunnies, and I'm attracted to a lot of different kinds of animals, but I'm really attracted to snakes for some reason, and I don't really know what exactly this was, but I called it Spiral because going from an animalistic mindset, holding on to vices, doom scrolling social media, holding on to addictions, everything when I was in my depressive episodes kind of triggered my growth into an upward spiral, because I realized, oh nah, I can't be living like this forever. Like, I have ambitions, like I actually have goals, and doing the same things over and over again is not going to get me towards my goals. I drew this spiral, kind of representing like an internal spiral is what I was going through. And I personally think that, like, even in the physical, I was in bed all the time. Constant fatigue, yes. Appetite and weight. When I tell y'all, recently, I've been chefing it up in the kitchen like 3-4 meals a day, just because I got out of this episode. And a reason, I told my therapist, because I was so drawn and addicted to labels, being a good daughter, being a good niece, being a good girlfriend, being a good whatever the heck. And I said, hey, let me just be Brianna, and everything else can come after. And that's when my cognitive brain started kicking in. I was like, yo, maybe I don't need to be lobotomized or institutionalized or any of the I's, because stuff like this, the art that I create, the music I make, the events that I host, the poetry I write, they all bring for therapy, and even alongside the therapy that I do, the shadow work I've been doing for years on end, like they all play a part in making Brianna. And I think another part of it would be with the depression that I had. This is just gonna like be like my mascot, my emotional support animal. I think something that happened to me was I would be in bed for a majority of the time, and I would use a lot of the time just wallow in self-pity. But there's a song called by Georgia Ann Muldrow called Break You Down on her early album, it's her 2009 early album, and there's a part wait, no, I think it's In Love Again, her album, but in her song she's like, you ain't no victim, like what does your heart entail? It would be like just stuff like that could just remind me like the things that I went through, but also, yes, I survived that, but also the things that I also survived in my adult years, just things that I allowed in my life, which is why I'm holding accountability and being my own accountability partner. Like, yo, you the one that stayed that long. Yo, you the one that let that fly. Feel me? So I feel like at the end of the day, this spiral is a representation of an internal spiral that I went within in myself. I went through the rabbit hole into the life of Brianna and discovered that, yo, I'm just the realest monk out here, man. I'm just kidding. No, actually, I'm not kidding, because yo, the things that I survived, I wouldn't even be alive to tell it. And considering from different perspectives of people in my life that have looked at me and said, oh my gosh, like you always have it together, kind of, but also no, because there's so many times where I feel like giving up, so many times I feel like there are things in life that I feel like I'm so behind on, but then again, who says I'm behind? Who says? I went to a vegan spot, and I might put up some of my art there too, so my art may be in 2 different locations. The owner of the vegan bakery played some of my music, and he loved it. So I was like, yo, you like my music? You like my music? Del Marie on Spotify. Tap in. Yeah, it was like, it felt really weird connecting with people again, but making human connections got me out of that spiral too. Again, depression, I think depression is more so a spirit than a condition, because one, I feel like a lot of people can end up telling you that what you feel is invalid, or what you feel is, some people make it bigger than it is, some people make it way less than what it is, and it's only up to you to validate yourself. But if you cling on to the spirit of depression as an identity, then of course it's going to cling on to you. Same thing with anger. If you're going to be angry like, I can't believe this, did this, oh my god, I'm gonna blow it. Yo, it got to a point where I was like, I was reading them people doing carrot cards on TikTok, and I was so upset. I just wanted to learn how to build a bomb, just so I can just blow some stuff up. Just because I was just so angry at the things that happened in the past. But at the end of the day, yo, it's like, you don't want to stay there for that long. Why are you mad? Clock it. But nah, I think at the end of the day, depression is something that's really serious. You should be medicated. You should be regulated. You should be going to therapy. You should be experimenting, doing different things, stimulating mentally, visually, spiritually stimulating things that being around people that allow you to think past the capacity of your own, being around people that want to make more money than you, people that are doing creative endeavors, people that are just in your life just to show you how good it can get. That's really what you need. And I'm not saying everyone needs the same thing, but you as in me, because I'm a reflection of you. And if I can get through whatever that was that I was going through, I promise you, you can too. It's not like you just gotta, you feel me? And I also want to say that depression is something that I have been dealing with since my late teens, and I'm 23. They come in waves. I realize this, and I need to get back on my healthier coping skills, which I have been. Clearly, as soon as I started, the opportunities started coming in, and using social media as a kind of like an emotional crutch, just to escape the mentality of my own life and my own negativity. It was something that was sending me further down, because I was like, yeah, people living their best lives, and I was like, why can't I do that? But the thing is, the difference is I would do that without a camera, and then I realized, yo, this is the best feeling ever. Going back out into nature, sitting on rocks. Do you know how good it feels to sit on a rock outside? Man, I love rocks. Anyways, depression is so real, and if I can get past it, I'm sure you can too. As someone who has lived their lives seeking external validation through social media, through love from other people, through validation, through titles, I think that even like from other people, like my peers and my family, I think the best kind of validation is through yourself. It's easier said than done, but I promise you, the less you seek other people's temperature of how they view you and how well they think you're doing versus how well you check yourself, your own temperature, and how well you're doing, the biggest difference will be made, because perception is everything to, let's see, Caribbean families, Asian families. I'm sure like my Asian fellas already know what's up. Like, perception is important to people, and I think at the end of the day, as long as you perceive yourself at your highest and your greatest good, and the validation from God or source or whoever you believe in, if anything, I promise you, like, there's so many greater things out there versus not just the title, not just like through my art, through my music, through my poetry. That's where I check my own temperature. And I think at the end of the day, poetry has always been something I shared, and I exposed myself plenty of times through my poetry. And I think it's shedding layers. It's revealing yourself. It's healing. So if you feel like you can't even muster up the courage or the strength or the willpower to even journal, then I would suggest writing some poetry, because poetry is my fave. I think, speaking of poetry, I'm working on a poetry book. A poetry book is gonna be so amazing. I'm not even saying the title, but I'm excited. One of my photographer friends, he mentioned today actually on the phone that I should work on some illustrations for my poetry book, which is like, why not? Because I only have a cover art, and this is actually from my journal, but I don't know if you can see it well, but I'd be making illustrations and things. So I'm like, I might as well add some illustrations on my poetry book. It's gonna take a little longer, but I'd rather do it and be satisfied with my final body of work. Yeah, man. This is a really, really short video on depression and some tools that I used to come out of this spiral, come out of this internal spiral. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. This is a really short video today because I just wanted to get straight to the point. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Some announcements. My first podcast episode is out. It's called The Del Marie Frequency on Spotify and on Patreon. On Patreon, my name is She Del Marie, same as my YouTube. We have 3 tiers already on Patreon. It's already uploaded. Very excited for some stuff I'm going to be dropping in there. I'm going to get a couple of members in, and then I'm going to start dropping for the tiers. And Discord. My Discord is... it's called For Your Mental. Getting some more people in there. Then we're going to do some weekly calls. I'm going to have some book recommendations on there. I drop some shadow work prompts in there from time to time. Let's see. I study the secrets of the world and the universe. So everything I learn, I will depart unto you. And the secrets of my universe, my inner universe, which is myself, I will depart unto you. My Substack is on and poppin'. I recently posted a post linking everything I literally just said, called Old Ways, New Days. That's the name of my Substack. I write journal on there sometimes. I post some epiphanies. And what else? I love you guys, and thank you so much for coming to gather with me, to drink some tea, to vibe out, to literally just love on each other and me. Show your support and will not go unnoticed. Yeah, I love y'all, and I will see y'all very soon.